Anytime you're ready.
Mayor.
Play out. Let it play out. M-A-Y-M-E-O-T-F-I-M-F-I-P. All right, Kenny.
Sorry.
Kenny Hitman McLean, he has way too much time on his hand.
I see.
All right, look, and we don't want to waste any time. Let's get right to it. Mr. Mayor, how are you today?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Mayor Mitch Colvin is the mayor of Fayetteville, North Carolina, not to be confused with Fayetteville, Arkansas. Fayetteville, Georgia, right here.
A guest one time showed up in Arkansas thinking he was supposed to be there in Fayetteville. I swear this is true. And he calls me one time, Gilbert. I never told you this. I'll just go ahead and move on. But yeah, not to be confused.
All right, Mr. Mayor, congratulations, I think, are in order. Would you say congratulations are in order for the joint resolution that has been resolved?
I would. And first, let me thank members of my team, the city council and staff, the mayor pro tem and Councilman Mahondros, Manager Hewitt, our city attorney, and staff members worked throughout, our vacation month and been working really, really hard for the last couple of weeks. And thank the city council who's had a couple of special meetings to address this, but and the members of the commission, Chairman and Vice Chairwoman Jones and Commissioner Tyson, but working through this, trying to fix a 20-year-old problem. And I think we've got the framework for it. But now, as with anything, the devil's in the details.
Well, and the details are here. If you want to highlight them, you can. But I told Kirk Deviere that the county was going to be in charge of this. And this is a joint resolution. And it's pretty amazing that the other day when Bill Bowman was in here from Up and Coming, I said, why don't they just do a joint collaboration between both organizations? Because you guys have been working pretty good, and you guys must have been listening to me on the radio.
Oh, you solved it, man.
And that's basically what that. But do you want to highlight this because it starts out with the county actually taking the administrative part, and I said that was going to happen.
So, well, look. That's been the impediment, but the goal is, or the sticking point that's existed since 2007 has been that, right? And so in order to deal with that major issue, that you had to look at it practically. One is, what does it have the authority to do as the administrator or the admin or technical lead on it? And so that was where we came up with the joint model. So in the state of North Carolina, two public entities can either become an independent authority like PwC, or they can come in by local agreement, interlocal agreement. If you become an independent authority, according to the statute, you have to have the legislator to do that for you, and you don't know what rules and parameters come with that. You can ask for certain things, but you're dealing with legislators from all over the state who may add or tweak or take away things that you want or didn't want. Or you can do it by interlocal agreement, which is what we did. We formed a partnership because it will not only include the city of Fayetteville, but it will have other partners potentially. You don't want to have to go back and forth to the state to add Fort Bragg or to add Hope Mills or to take someone out and to exit it. So this was a local situation that needed to be handled by local leadership, and this is what we have. The county, because you don't have an official separate entity, someone has to distribute the paychecks, collect grant money, and pay the bills. In this case, it starts out with the county, but it is set up to where it can rotate in 5 years if it needs to be the city. This provides more flexibility that you can add partners along the way, or you could get down the road a couple of years and say, hey, this didn't work out. We're actually spending more, not less, and you don't have to go back to the state for permission to do that. So this gave a lot more flexibility. The governance, the budget, the policies will be directed by a joint appointed board. So really both entities are in charge. They'll have their people, whether electeds or representatives of both, at the table. The county will not make any decisions based on operations. It will be done by the joint board.
Okay, if you're just joining me right now, Mayor Mitch Colvin is the mayor of Fayetteville here. It's, 7:27 right now. We're talking about the consolidation of the 911 call centers. City operates their own and has accreditations and all the things they need. The county does the same thing. Both agencies have just exemplary first responders on the staff. City of Fayetteville and county have good responders, and that's right. So we have this thing about who's going to run it. Let me just read what the points that were sent out. I think this was by the city. I got this press release yesterday. Cumberland County will initially serve as the administrative agency responsible for financial and administrative functions. A joint governance board with representatives from the city and county, Cape Fear Valley Health System, and one of Cumberland County's municipalities. You mean like Godwin or some of the other small towns? Okay. Will provide policy oversight and accountability. An operations committee made up solely of emergency communications and public safety professionals with no elected officials will oversee the operations. And you guys have said that all along.
Those are the users of the system.
That's right. And then an independent third party implementation consultant will help guide the consolidation process. So those are the points that were made that both the county and the city unanimously agreed on.
Right. 17 people agreed with that.
All right, and that stops the Senator McGinnis from saying, do it, and this is what we're going to say. We don't need a bill, and you guys beat the deadline in order to get that done.
Right, and so the petition is to Senator McGinnis and the state to say that, hey, both boards have unanimously asked that you defer any interference and allow us to work through this. 60 days from now, we'll have an interlocal agreement, which will lay out the details about the specifics of those points that you said, but those are the important points of it. The other thing is that it's important that you have a director. What was important to us that we preserved our personnel. They do specialized calls. You know, it's unique to us. The Shot Spotter, the drone system, and Officer Community Safety, and they do more calls. And so there was agreement by both boards to allow our director, Lisa Reed, to head that personnel transition off. She would then bring everyone up to make sure that seniority is preserved, to make sure pay is preserved, and all the personnel parity is in place. That was important to us. Other thing that was important is that the city taxpayers passed a bond to invest in public safety. And we want to make sure that any real estate assets and infrastructure assets and investments are protected and remain in the possession of the city. The closest model to this, Gilbert, is right now the city and county, by way of an interlocal agreement, have Robert Van Gien's office. Robert Van Gien's doesn't work for the city. He doesn't work for the county. He works for and answers to his board. But the county handles the administering or the distribution of the funds. So we pay our part to them. They pay Robo's office and fund his budget. This will work the exact same way. And Robo is accountable to his board. The joint governance board here will have a lot more teeth, and the director will answer directly to them.
Well, and that's a good analogy because Robo, they do a great job for the city and the county. And so that's what we're talking about now. Doing a great job for the city and the county with this 911 center. Now, the other element of this is the fact that the city is still going to move forward with the construction of a facility. Talk about that. Yeah.
So the fact of the matter is that here in our city, we need a primary location and we need a backup location. Right now, the city has its primary location, doesn't really have a backup, and the county has executive place and doesn't really have a backup. So we will build this new facility. It will be state of the art. It will be accommodating of a consolidated operation. It'll have room for more employees and for future growth. And it could serve as the primary once it's up and moving. And executive place can be the backup for our community. And so now you fix two problems. That's some of the efficiencies that I think Senator McGinnis and the legislature were trying to encourage. That this system wasn't broken. We didn't fix a broken problem. What it did, it says that you could do it more efficiently and save taxpayers money. So that new facility will be built. Hopefully we can leverage our bond money with grant money and make that money go further, but it'll be something that can be used for years to come.
All right, and so the question is, who pays for the new facility, city or the county?
Well, what will happen is because we have the bond, the city would initially build it, and because you have a consolidated operation, there'll be some offset or payment for the using the space between the city and the county. The county is responsible, according to this, and we'll work the details out. They're responsible to all 9 municipalities to provide a base level of services because they collect taxes throughout the county to do that. And then whatever's left, there'll be a split between the city and the county to be able to pay the bills.
You made a trip recently, I think you and some council members, and saw a facility like that near an airport. Is there some discussion about that, maybe at Fayetteville Airport?
Yeah, so the area that we were targeting was in and around the airport. You know, that's an underutilized asset. We've got to pick up that entire corridor, and this is an opportunity to do both. When we toured LaGuardia Airport to look at probably some partnerships or some similarities that we can share. They literally went from worst to best in the travel guides. That we saw that some of those PSAPs that were held at the airports also were users of the system in a consolidated model. Jefferson County, Knox County, Tampa, I think, was another one. And so our hazmat teams are located close by there for the purposes of FAA. This makes sense to integrate and bring all that together.
Well, the timetable now on this is 2 to 3 years. Given the 20 years we've waited, I think that's probably a drop in the bucket here, but we start moving forward. But you've got a 60-day deadline to really put this together and make it move forward.
Right. Yeah, we have to have the interlocal agreement in by 60 days. We'll do periodic check-ins with the legislator. We're going to keep our work groups active, probably meet a couple times a month to keep moving. I talked to the city council when we took the vote yesterday and promised to brief them at least once a month as to where that work group is. But we've made a lot of progress, and I'm favorable and confident that we'll get it done, and we'll bring the integrator in, which will really do the professional aspect of it.
All right, we spent all the time talking about the 911 center. Time for me to give you the boot, but I don't want to do that without at least giving you a minute or so. Are there other things that you want to chat about in terms of what the city's doing?
Yeah, the state just passed the budget. So, as thankful as I am for Senator McInnes and Representative Wheatley for being interested in this local issue. As we said before, this wasn't something that was broken. 911 calls were still being answered. But what we did, city and the county both petitioned them for something that'll help our community get out of Tier 1, which is money for water and sewer infrastructure. The budget didn't include that. We will continue to push for that. We did take a trip to our airport. Charlotte and other communities became who they are because the airport became a working engine that draw and brought in industry. We have to get ours moving. So LaGuardia, we're looking to do some partnerships there to help utilize and bring our airport up to speed. And so we've also asked the state for that. So if our representatives are listening, we need you. We thank you for intervening in our public safety, but we need to get out of Tier 1.
Well, I'm getting ready to say something that's going to give us another 5 minutes of conversation. I don't really want to do that because Greg Fischel's standing by. But their eyebrows have been raised because city leaders have gone and visited data centers unbeknownst to the city. At least that's what a recent article, I think in City View, was alluding to. I don't know that you owe an obligation to the community that you're going to go do the city's business on everything that you do, but you did make a trip to a data center. What was that?
Council members agreed to do that. It was in a motion in open session that said as a part of this 120 days, we're going to visit data centers and do our due diligence and research. What City View was talking about was that they didn't know when and where. And so there was not a quorum of council members that went, so you're not required to give advance notice for public meetings. This was an information-seeking process so that we can make informed decisions when it's time.
Well, and we have City View in here every other Monday, and I'm not trying to beat up any of the other publications. That's not what we do. But I've read their article with great interest, and I thought I'd at least give you an opportunity to respond to that and kind of explain what that was.
Well, the city council abided by and continues to abide by the open meeting laws. And if there were 6 or more of us, you would have had to notice it as a public meeting. Quorums were not met, but council members were interested. Not all of us went. We can go at our various times, but this is something that we're going to have to make a decision about. And when we come back in August, we'll tackle that.
All right, and I don't know how you make a decision without looking at some that are already out there. At some point, you got to look at it. So, all right. Well, look, Mitch Colvin, we appreciate you coming in. I'm glad that you've worked out the agreement that I told you that you were going to work out the way that I said you were going to work it out, yes, where the county's in charge of it, and the city will have some administrative.
The joint agencies in charge of it.
But the county starts.
The county's
off.
writing the paycheck.
That's right. So I'm not. I told Kirk Deviere.
That's important.
I told him. He said, I said the county was going to take it over. He said I owe him lunch. No, he owes me lunch. So I'll talk with him when he comes.
Neither one of you are wrong. All right.
Well, everybody's right, and the main thing is we're moving forward here. And congratulations for coming to that agreement.
All right. Thank you.
You're listening to News Talk 640 WFNC. You want to go to commercials, or you want to go?
We're going to get Greg on to find out something, right? You've got a plan,
yeah,
right?
We're going to call him, but I want to save some time here and I'll give him a call.
Let's just go right to our local weather with Rachel Dunsing from CBS 17.